Man,
Show your handsome face.
I had to,
And we are live.
all right, I had to find a corner, man.
Right, I know how that is. So, you know what? I'm gonna start us off with a little Joe Levy. I had Joe on about a month ago. It's one of the guys I grew up with.
I'm enough to get me through.
Wait, you don't know him. He's been number one on the charts for 2 weeks now. So we're gonna rock him for a little while until some people come on. And we still waiting for Jamon. Mr. Brown. Joe Lee called Inside.
I often wonder when you come around, I can't help myself. Those things you do got me addicted. I don't want no help.
Joe Lee, number one on the charts these days. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a taste of your sweet love.
And I'm gonna have Dwayne, hey, you're gonna have to sing a little bit for us tonight. You're gonna have to say something. You're gonna have to say something. I'm gonna bring it on down now so we can get on started. But that's Joe Levy, number one on the charts. If you don't have it, go out, YouTube it. It's Joe Levy. It's called Inside You. Inside of your love, babe. Y'all don't know nothing about that.
All right.
All right, Steve.
You know, I see y'all. So, okay, I want to the Doctor of Love, another wonderful Friday night. It is 7 p.m. and we're about to get started. So I want to go around the horn and let's introduce ourselves. Let's start with you, Fly Financial.
All right, my name is Miss Toy, that Fly Financial Female. Fly standing for finally loving you, taking time out for yourself, learning about your finances. You can catch me on all platforms, social media platforms. And I also wanted to bring out, I'm a new investor of a dog food line, dog health supplement line. So you will be seeing that coming out. Also a dog grooming center in Temecula, California. Reach out to me. And I'm going to leave it right there and pass the mic on.
Let's go, Tashua.
Hi, how are you? I'm Tashua Cornwell Clark. I am the owner of Browse by Tosh. You can find me at Instagram, Browse by Tosh Studio 111. That's me. I'm also your social scientist, and I am here to bring the noise.
Bring the noise. That's what's up. That's what's up. So I want to introduce Dwayne Wright. This is this is a Hall of Famer from Lincoln High School. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite players of all time. He also sings in the NFL Players Choir. So we're going to have him sing a line for us a little later once he warm up his voice, or his voice is already warmed up from coaching, yelling at them kids and getting them right. So tell him a little bit about you and what you do.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dwayne Wright, Mr. D. Wright. That's what everyone call me. I am a football coach. I'm also a PE teacher here in Fresno, California. And I'm also part of our NAACP. It's sort of a group that we have here on campus at Roosevelt, and we work with all of our African-American student athletes and also the African-American population on campus to make sure they know what's going on and their worth. And that's what I do during the day. During the night, I am a lovely father of 7, believe it or not. And I just had some twins. They're 1 year old, and they are moving and getting me tired along the way. But I love God. I'm also here to be one of his faithful servants as well. So I know we're going to have some fun, and I can't wait to just see what this is all about.
Okay, check this out before we go on to Jamon. Hey, you got 6 of them, right? How many?
7.
How many kids? 7.
7.
Okay, if you have the 8th one, you name him or her after me.
What? Stephen or the Doctor of Love?
I think he wants the TDL.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Hey, Jamon, come on, man. Mr. Brown. Hey, we have an active player on this in that house. Come on, man. We got a young man. Now we get to hear love and relationship from young people. This is so sweet. This is so sweet. And he also sings in the NFL or in the players choir. And sometimes when I'm not hitting my notes, this man shares it with me. He shares it with me. He helps me out. I am so glad he is. I'm glad he's with us. So tell us a little bit about yourself before we move on to the boss lady.
Okay, what's up, everybody?
What's going on?
Hey.
I'm Jamon Brown. I'm a Louisville, Kentucky native. I've been in the NFL since 2015. I'm kind of in that transition state, right? I've been working on a couple of things through my foundation, which I started my second year in the league here in the city of Louisville, really to help decrease the gun violence and the crime, particularly within our youth between the ages 14 to 24. And so I'm kind of twittering that line, like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But there's a lot of good things and a lot of great things that's kind of pulling me to transition out. As Steve mentioned, I've just joined the players choir, and so I'm excited about that. Excited to see where that journey takes us. I am a father of 2, and I'm really just excited to be here.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, for those who don't know, I adopted both of them. They now my kids, so they my kids. So we're gonna move on before we get started, and we're gonna move to the doctor, Linda, the boss lady of the show. So go ahead, tell them who you are and where we can find you.
I tell you, I don't know why he's always trying to make me the boss lady, you know? But anyways, as everyone knows, I'm Linda Hart, now Dr. Linda Hart officially, Streeter. And gosh, for the past 20 years, my work includes for the past 20 years. And it's, of course, after going through a divorce when I transitioned into this field and I became very interested in relationships, how we interact while relationships don't work. What are things we need to do to make those relationships work? So after I got my master's in marriage and family therapy, I started working. I was certified with the Florida Supreme Court, Arizona Superior Court. I worked with them. In fact, for the past 6.5 years out there in Arizona, I worked as a counselor mediator in family court. And God only knows all the issues I've seen come through family court, and especially working as a mediator in conflict resolution. As a result of that, I'm an author. I've written a couple of books. One is on the art of manifesting love. Don't we need more love in our life? Oh, yes. And then secondly, the second one that just came out this year is called The Power of Conflict. And I love that book. What I love about that particular book is the fact that the goal is to teach us that it's okay to have differences. That's all conflict is. But there's so much power in conflict. We don't have to fight. If we were use our energy, our strength, we could create something really beautiful from that. So that's the essence of that book, on how we resolve conflict. How do we create something beautiful out of what we think is so horribly wrong? So I currently work, after leaving the court system, I work now. I do a lot of remote coaching. I do behavior coaching, relationship, as well as life coaching. And that's kind of me. I'm at lindahartstreeter.com going through some renovations. So if the website doesn't come up, that is why, but it will be live soon. But that's me. You can reach me on Facebook under Love and Relationship Matters with Linda, as well as lindahartstreeter.com. And I'm getting more and more into the videos with Unreal and TikTok. So I'm getting it.
Okay, we got some people watching, y'all. We want to make sure y'all hit love, the likes, and all that, and leave comments.
Love, like, and share.
And share, so we can answer your questions. You guys ask us questions on the side. For those of you guys on here on the board, in your top right corner is comments. You guys can read the comments, and if you see a question you want to answer, check it out, read it to us, and we'll go from there. So let's move on. Hey. First, I want to start off by Wifey told me a little bit of something about what it was a law that passed today. What was it about? Women don't have the rights to vote. Anybody know anything about that?
No, it was Wade, Roe versus Wade, regarding abortions, right? Roe versus Wade. that amendment was overturned by the Justice Supreme Court today. So all the uproar is about other people get to make decisions for women about what they can do with their bodies,
That's crazy.
regardless of their health conditions. And in some cases, they're even stating that even if it was incest or rape, they still do not have a right to abort the child.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so it's a big issue right now.
The irony in that is that here we have a Senate or an organization of all men telling women what to do with their bodies. And then, everyone claims to be, oh, I'm so pro-life. But then when the women that can't afford to have kids have them, and then they're asking for help.
And then you don't want to help them.
Right.
For help, want to get the system. It just doesn't make sense. But I was already fired up about the Roe versus Wade comment I saw on CNN just before I chimed in. So I said, let me
I just have a quick thing to say about that. God gives us the freedom of choice. Why can't we have the freedom of choice?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Really why they have the Roe versus Wade. This show wouldn't be the Doctor of Love show tonight. This we'd be talking about something altogether different.
Right. So we may have a show on that a little bit later, because I just thought I'd bring that up because I just found out about that, and I'm like, that is beyond crazy. I didn't think anything like that would ever, go back to the way it was.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought it would go back. When you're taking people's choice away from them, that's beyond crazy. That's too much control.
It's not necessarily about taking their choice. It's about some populations are decreasing and people want to remain the majority. But I'm going to leave. I'm gonna just move away from it.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Boss lady, what's our topic today?
So, you know what you talked about, I think what I saw from the original topic point here, what you pointed out, it doesn't have a topic to it in terms of a name, but it was a question that I thought was a really good question, because it was going to be around what does a man do when his woman continues in a friendship with her ex and even goes to lunch with him. So basically, what does a man what does a woman do too when people want to go into ex relationships as friendships?
So anybody
the thought is, what's your opinion on that? Should you be able to? Is it okay or not okay?
No, go ahead, Miss Tasha.
I'm gonna just correct y'all real quick. It's Tashua like Joshua, and that's all. But
Tasha.
I posed that question because my answer in short is absolutely not. And then I'll get into it later. I'm gonna hear what y'all got to say.
Okay. Okay. So Tasha says it's not okay.
Emphatically, it's not okay at all.
I would agree. I think you got to check the temperature of the situation and maybe set boundaries, and kind of see if there can be a respect level of those boundaries.
Yeah,
I would think potentially.
I think I would be okay with it, because I trust my wife. You know what I'm saying? It's all about trust. It's not that I even have to trust her. I trust myself. I trust myself that I chose the right woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's all come down to trust. If she went out with an ex or whatever, her friends, it's just like going out with another friend. Any guys, any girls, to me. Because like I said, you have to trust her and trust yourself.
Most people always come with the trust factor and say, "Oh, it's about the trust." No.
I agree. I agree to disagree. I think it has to do with the levels of your relationship. Whether if you are in a relationship or if you're married, there's a difference. If you're married, now the trust is a little bit more deeper, because if we're talking about being spiritual now, being married is what you're supposed to be doing. Period. But if you're in a relationship, I think it should be open. I think you should be able to have friends and things of that nature, depending on what that level is. But if you're married, I had to go through it, and I can just openly say it. I had to go through this whole ordeal of you're not dropping her off with, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to go through those, not trusting my wife, it's just not trusting my mind. because I was in a different mindset. So when you're mature enough to understand, like, okay, she really loves you, she's not gonna do nothing, to jeopardize it. I think that's where the line is drawn, because me and my wife just went through this probably like 7-8 months ago. You know what I mean? So I think it's a maturity level.
Right.
You know what? I don't necessarily think it's a maturity level, because oftentimes when people have these discussions, and I'm married, I've been married twice. I'm a widow and I'm married now. And, just the idea, I'm going out with my ex or even female friends. I don't play that, period. I don't. And it's not about being insecure, none of that. If you and your ex was that chummy Charlie, then y'all should have stayed together. All that we're going out. No, for what? What do you guys got to talk about?
But what if you're friends though? But if you're friends, you're friends.
If you were that friendly, y'all should have stayed together. Remember, we're talking about exes.
Mm-hmm.
What if you have kids and it has nothing to do with a dinner or anything? You're just about your kids, like going out and going to the zoo together.
No, that's not gonna work.
Oh, you're harsh.
Yeah.
If you think that close relationship, then y'all should have stayed together. All this, we going to the zoo and playing family or playing house today, and then come home. No, it's a no for me. It's a no.
So what if you're she is a friend of the family's, and she comes over and you guys hang out. I mean, and they come over for dinner and she brings her boyfriend or her husband or whatever, and you guys are friendly.
That's different. But you're just not just hanging out. What you hanging out for? No. If we're a family and you brought your husband over, and otherwise, why does my husband need to sit up entertaining you? What are we entertaining?
Yeah, I think it's a difference between if it's entertaining or if it's pertinent. Is it business where you guys involved in a business that is not dissolved and you're still doing certain roles, but you dated, that's over with. Are you gonna let go? Are you gonna say he can't do the business no more? Or it depends on what they're doing. If you're going out to hang out, you're going to some bowling event or some movie event, no, you're not doing all that entertaining. But to me, if it's business and we still are friends, like no love lost, I'm cool with you still. Right. A lot of people that, back in the days that I had dated, because I was married for a very long time and just got out of the marriage 2015. And so I've been doing my own thing for me for a while. But before then, I ended relationships. We were friends. A lot of people I know from back then, we still friends. Like, we are cool. And thank God I never ended on nothing way crazy or I hate you and all that stuff. So it's never happened that way for me, fortunately. But no, I have not had situations where we're going bowling or going to the movies and all that. But there has been business relationships.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to sever the business we had started or finished to say, oh, we were in some previous relationships, so now I can't do this business. And so I don't always agree with just severing the entire relationship.
So there's a whole lot of different scenarios that we can look at when it comes to that. I think Tasha is looking at it one way, one-sided, and that's it. You thinking?
Well, I think.
Go ahead.
But if you think about the question, that's what it was. If he continues a friendship with the ex and they go to lunch. This is not saying anything about business, about children. So, there could be other things to read into that. But whatever two people do, I think the most important thing is that you must have an understanding. And, back to trust, of course, but you must have an understanding and clear boundaries about the relationships. Because what will happen at times if a person feel like, oh, we cool like that. I know he has someone else, but we cool like that. They may feel they can overstep the boundaries of that relationship. And sometimes it's disrespectful behavior, which is intentional too, because, hey, he was my friend first. So, and then I think a person who wants to be that close of a friend with their ex, I think they really need to discover their why.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your why? I don't have a problem with an ex or mine. I don't have a problem with it, but I don't have a need or feel a need to go to lunch with them either.
Right.
True.
So
True.
what if
We don't do business together, and I understand that
Right.
sometimes there may be business relationships. And even in that, well, then my husband would be with us if that's the case. We
There
don't
you-
have a need to hang out together. That's
Yeah.
right,
about it.
And
right,
it
right.
severed the business relationship because people got into their feelings. So one person can still be kind of in their feelings where the other person is like, I'm good. Like, you
Right.
bring your people around, bring your wife around, whatever, I'm good. But that person gets in their feelings about certain things as if you're still together. So then if that other person picks up on that and really has another genuine relationship, then they'll just back off and say, you know what, this is
Yeah.
not going to work.
Yeah, that X can show up as a third wheel in the relationship. So,
Yeah.
Hey,
and I
one-
think relationships are complex enough, and things come up all the time in relationships. So if you're really looking at keeping a close knit where you're like this, and there are no third parts between that, even include family members, you
So-
have complications because
So-
people don't respect boundaries.
so Tashua,
Yes.
okay, let's just say you and I went out. We used to date, right?
Well,
So
we
what
didn't use today. You
Well,
said
no, we didn't.
okay.
It's hypothetical. What
Okay.
if we used to date, you and I,
Uh-huh.
then all of a sudden I came tight with your husband. Is
Okay.
it okay for me to hang out with your husband and not you?
No. This
I
is that.
still can't even hang out with your husband.
No. That because if I dated, okay, let's say if I had previously dated a man, I just wouldn't want them hanging out with my husband just because it would be awkward for me. Just it would be awkward, like seeing two guys one that I used to date, and then my husband or a man that I'm currently dating. That would be really bizarre. I wouldn't want to hang out with a guy and his ex girlfriend. I wouldn't want to hang out with the ex girlfriend. You know what I mean? That would just be a little weird.
Yeah. And to tell you the truth, I don't know too many guys would do that.
Yeah,
That's hard. I don't think.
more ego than that.
Yeah, that's a lot of ego going on right there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to do
That,
that.
that ain't happening.
You wonder
Well, hey,
I tell you that right now.
Guys ain't even
I
trying
thought,
it.
I
Let's
thought I
say
just
that's your-
asked,
let's
what
say
the
that's
doctor
your
loves
wife.
her back. What's that?
Let's say that a man's wife wanted to hang out with her ex-boyfriend and say, "Oh, we're just friends." How would a husband feel about that? Would that be, would that be a good idea?
I think not.
I don't think
You
either.
don't think so,
I
either.
think not. Why?
Yeah.
Why would a suggestion like that be put on the floor or even brought, to the forefront? In my opinion, so.
I have a question to the men. Would you want to date a woman that says she has a man as a BFF, like a best friend?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What do you guys think?
Hey,
I
like
mean-
I said, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't care.
He's straight,
And he's straight too.
yeah.
I still wouldn't mind. If my
You-
wife had a BFF,
You know,
I'd be cool.
That's trust. Now, what if
Especially-
this friend was
just-
he knew your wife before you too? Like they've been best friends for a very long time.
Well,
if let me answer real fast. So if my wife hung out with her best friend, I would already know him before I got married.
Okay.
Because we would be rolling to concerts. We would be rolling to fairs. We'd be rolling everywhere. I would know him already before we got married.
that's the difference.
So yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, most situations are not like that, right? They're not. Hey, my name is Tiffany. Oh yeah, this is my BFF that I'm here at the nightclub with. You know what I mean? It's not typically that upfront, that forward. So, I'm with Steve. If there was an introduction to the BFF long before the covenant was made, and there was, true awareness and there was true transparency on this is the temperature between, our BFF relationship, then, I would be all for it. But, most situations, because I've had experience in this type of situation, it doesn't typically go that route. The BFF doesn't move, the way that you would expect the BFF to move. You know what I mean? And then definitely it causes your counterpart to kind of, you know, want to offset or compensate, you know, for that, and so it causes tension. So I think it would have to be a scenario like Steve painted, you know, where there was, you know, a clear introduction long before, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, let me.
Yeah.
I gotta be like Tashua. Let me clear something up. On here, JB. On here, I'm not Steve. I'm the doctor of love.
Okay.
Oh, Dr. Lynn.
Look,
The doc.
Steve, listen. One thing I do is I take coaching. You know what I mean? So Tashua, I heard you, right? And the doctor of love, I heard you.
That's my son right there. That's my son.
Yeah, but Doctor of Love, I'll say that. We so used to calling you that, but I mean, I'm a little different. Like I'm hardcore when it comes to that. Like I don't know if I was raised that way or I just have common sense. So the common sense in me is going to be like, okay, you got a BFF. I mean, at some point, you know, if that's your best friend, y'all gonna have some type of experience. Not necessarily if it's sexual, whatever. There's some type of encounter that you guys had or talk or something. You know, there is two different sides of the spectrum. You have a woman and a man. Come on, you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to the intimacy part of it, now there will be some friction because now you're coming in with your expectations. He already has expectations as the BFF. Now it's like, okay, you know, BFF, I don't really like what's going on. Oh, I really like him. You know, like nobody got time for that because where I'm from, you'll get your feelings hurt real fast. You know what I mean? If you're going to interfere with something like that. So I think with that, you just have to have a clear understanding. You know what I mean? And again, I'm just talking off of general because I'm like a manly man. So when it comes to that stuff, I don't really play that. So,
I think that, you know, see, to me, there's a why for everything. And if I'm entering a committed relationship with someone that's saying marriage, that is my BFF.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say.
That is, I mean, why would I have a BFF if I'm married? I mean,
not married.
Why? You know, because the goal of that relationship is to bond and to build intimacy. And back to people knowing their roles and places in your life.
Yeah.
So if you have sometimes people have not had that discussion. They're like, well, that was my friend before that, but your friend does not know their role. Your friend does not know that they need to respect your significant other. Your friend does not know that they can't call you anytime they want to. Your friend does not know they need to take a back step to your significant other. So if you have someone in your life that's that close to you, usually people who really love and respect you, when you go into a relationship, marriage, or commitment, they respect that and they automatically, they're not looking for a place in your life.
Right.
So, you know, there's always a why. If you're that close, go marry someone now.
Okay.
That's
Same
true.
scenario.
That part is true.
Same scenario. Because what you're talking about, Linda, what if it's your mama?
Well, I think same
because
thing.
Your mama.
Oh, that's
disrespect your wife or anybody.
No, mothers have roles too. Your own children have roles. I think that in relationships, you know, back to boundaries are really just the rules by which we're going to engage.
Yeah.
And so when we're coming together, one of the things I talk to people about when they're in premarital counseling is about their counseling and how they're going to integrate their family, because everyone have families, they have friends or whatever. So how are you going to integrate your lives? And what are you going to do with all these people?
Right.
And so those two people need to have a conversation about the expectations of their mothers, if their parents are alive. They should have conversations around children, because the number one thing to keep your relationship together is that the two people become like this.
Yeah.
And they talk about their level of giving to family members, who can live with them, what are the rules, and the rules apply to everybody. And they don't make decisions about these people unless they've had discussions about what they're doing. And I think smart people, again, who really love you, I have 4 adult sons. There's no way I'm going to get between them and their wives. They will never have to choose between me and their wives.
Because you're
So you
Dr.
have that.
Linda Hart Streeter.
You have that
Yeah.
place with respect them. And you know what happens? My daughter-in-laws, they respect me. They actually like me. My son-in-law even likes me.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, when you give respect, people can honor you in that way. And I think we just need to know our place sometimes.
Okay. Hey, we must move on.
So let me look at some comments.
I have these 2 gentlemen that I'm not going to be able to keep forever. So this show is about hearing advice from a man's perspective. So let's get a little more perspective.
So let me give you
from the gentleman.
No, wait a minute. I got a good question for the gentleman because we really want to hear from them on this one. And then from that, we haven't forgotten about your audience. I'm going to get you guys in a moment. I'm going to read some comments. But since they need to go, this is a really good question here for the gentleman to start out on. And it is, what is this called? What is it called when a man don't want to be in a relationship with you, like committed relationship with you, but he wants you to himself? In other words, he don't want you playing around with anybody else. He kind of like wants to claim you, but he's not claiming you. He don't want commitment, but at the same time, he wants to kind of tell you.
What is he?
What do you call that kind of thinking with a man who thinks that way? What do you call that?
As men, we all think different. That's why it's 3 of us here.
It all depends what it is.
No. Did you hear what it is? Okay, this is again.
I heard the question, but as a man, there's different situations that you.
We'll give it from your.
No, I'm saying if you're single, there's different ways.
We just want to hear from you all perspective. Just help us understand what that is about. Don't make it deep.
We're gonna let the Doctor of Love start this off. Let the Doctor of Love tackle this. I think the man is selfish, and I think the man should not let her go, but give her the room to go find her true love. The man that's meant for her. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you should be selfish and hang on to her like this, mine. But you're gonna date other people. If you're gonna date other people, let them know that we're dating other people instead of me dating everybody else and she thinking it's just a one-on-one between her and herself. You don't want to mess up a woman's dream. You know what I'm saying? You want her to find the right man for her. So that's from the Doctor of Love.
Nightmare.
Right.
Young man, JB, come on, man, talk to me. Because we want to hear from a young man. We want to hear from a young man. What's your thoughts?
Man, I always think it depends on the man's mindset, right? And the way that scenario was painted, that man doesn't. He just wants to possess that woman. You know what I mean? Use her as an object. You know what I mean? I can't really speak on what you would classify that, just because I've never really been in that state of like, hey, I want my cake. No one else can, eat it, but I can eat every other cake out here too. You know what I mean? I've never really been in that mindset, so I can't, classify. But I'm with Steve. That sounds like a guy who ain't got respect for the game. You know what I mean? I definitely got respect for the game. You know what I mean? If you're gonna have a lady and you're not putting titles on it or structure on it, I think she should be able to have the same freedoms as you. You know what I mean? And so that's how I feel about that one.
Yeah, because saying that is like, give a woman a choice. Let her have a choice. Like if you're gonna say we're together, you be with her. You my woman. That's where conversation comes in. But if you just gonna date, say we're gonna date. If she wants you, she's not gonna date anybody anyway. So just be upfront and honest with her.
You know what? That's interesting because it sounds good, but oftentimes the guys that do this, these are narcissists, and they want to have her on deck while they still doing what they do, thinking that there's somebody better out there, and they still want to keep the game going. They got respect for the game. It's called the player game. But the problem is that they expect the woman to just sit back and be home whenever they come over. They want to come unannounced and pop up. And if she has a friend over, it's like it's a big problem, but they're doing their thing. So that can get some guys in a lot of trouble. That can cause a lot of trouble.
Oh, absolutely, Tasha. I agree with you on that, because at the end of the day, even if you guys haven't done it, you know what it's called. It's called stringing a woman along. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And in most cases, when she's being strung along, he's never going to tell her that he really doesn't want to be in a committed relationship, because it's about keeping that door open. And and so he shows up enough just to keep the door open sometimes. Yeah. And we
I'm sorry.
He's benefited from it.
I think
Mr. Dwayne Wright.
Because I mean, I can openly talk like this, because like I was married before and divorced, right? The first time. So, and I was in the NFL. So I'm gonna be real. So sometimes you do go through things in life and you don't really know what lies ahead of you, and you may be in love with that particular woman, but there may be a friend that you really love her mind and what she's about, but you really like the other one as well. So the decision, I'm just being real. Like, I'm just keeping all it real. So that don't mean the man want to be a player at times. That means he is really confused about himself. For one, he's confused about himself because he don't know who he is and whose he is. All right. Secondly, the woman may not understand who she is, so she's going along with the ride, because now you have a man who promises all of this stuff and maybe it's not true and it is true, right? And then you have the other woman who, like, she really loves him and she'll do anything for him, but she knows that he has another woman. So
that's that friend that we've been talking about.
So
that's that ex.
So what I'm saying is man and woman go through the same thing. And if y'all say no, that's not true, then y'all know that y'all ain't telling the truth. So a man is more selfish when it comes to decisions. He's going to do it because a man will go get it because he wants it now. A woman would think about it and observe, and then she will say, you know what? Let me go speak to someone that maybe I can get some information from. And then she knows the answer, but she still will take that information from her friend or someone who has knowledge and still do the wrong thing. So we can't really compare a man or a woman, but I will say from a man, I have been in that whole scenario, but I'm so glad I'm not. But during that scenario, it's very hard because when you have kids on the line, and then you have your career on the line, and then you have the balance with your mom and your dad, and then, you have pressure from your friends. Hey, let's go out. Let's go party. Let's go do this. But you got kids. Let me take care of my kids. Then you got two women that want you. What are you going to do?
Well, I think that sometimes, see, now we got him talking. At first, he acted like he didn't know how to answer the question, but you see what so now we come with it. Now we hear it straight. But I understand what you're saying. I think that sometimes guys don't always think about the bigger picture.
Right.
When they're engaging in these relationships. So what they do is they create situations where they find themselves in a bound. And I think sometimes guys' inability to be direct about what they want further confuses them. And sometimes it means that you have to sit with mom and say, Mom, this person is special. This is what I can do and what I can't do. You just communicate your limitations. You don't create a situation and have everybody wondering what you're doing, because otherwise she may think that it's playing games. And then back to these two different women. We talked about this once before in one about these relationships where people, have one person that meet their emotional needs. Someone else may have that business. Another female has this business aspect about her that helps him to create value for his life. The other one, he enjoys the sexual aspect of her because she's sexual. Well, you can't have three in one, and so that decision is hard because, again, they're all serving you in some capacity. And we know in life, you don't get everything you want. You give up something for something else. And if that's what's going on with guys, They just got to sit down and figure that out. You can't keep dragging people in and they get hurt. And as you say, then when children come into the picture, you like this aspect of this woman, but you know she's not the one you want to be with. Don't do that to her.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, John Mathers has a question.
Okay. So
Do I read it or you want to read it, Linda?
you can read it.
Okay. John Mathers says, a guy loves two women. One he tells everything to, and she knows about the other woman. The other he lies to and keeps the other woman a secret. Who does he love the most?
Himself.
Okay, guys. Yeah, I think you guys should answer that first. Tell us.
Yeah, you tell us.
Which one does he love the most? I want to hear that from you all.
Me too.
He doesn't love neither.
Right.
Oh,
Right. Right.
okay.
He doesn't love neither. What he loves is the comfortability,
The situation.
situation, the moment. I literally just gave everyone that same scenario. So what we're talking about is a man who knows what he wants, but he don't know who he is. That's the difference. So he's taken from women, different sides of who he really wants to be with, who he really wants to show out to his boys, who he really wants to work on his financial needs or his education or his, that's just what men go through. You know what I mean? So it takes a really strong man to decide who he wants to be. I mean, that's my answer.
Yeah, because if a man is stringing two women along, then I agree he's not loving either one of them because he's being deceitful to both of them. So where's the love in there?
Well, see, the one he tells is the one that he knows he can get away with it.
Yeah.
He's going to accept it. So that's the one he's going to tell. The one he doesn't tell is he knows that one is not going to go, it's not going to tolerate it. So I think he knows the one that he feels will accept his behavior and let him do it. Like, okay. And, so I think that, again, back to what we were saying earlier, that's something that a guy has to work on. He got to figure himself out and stop making all these big mess, because they make such a big mess that they look like the bad person. And I do believe that a lot of guys have, they mean well, they're good guys, but at the same time, they just create this big mess and it doesn't represent them very well later.
Craig says he loves himself. Everything is a game, player.
That's what
He loves himself.
Okay, Craig.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
Craig.
my cousin.
Craig,
That's my cousin right there.
I hear you.
Michi, I see you. That's my cousin. Ronnie, my nephew. Hey, but we got like 17, 18 minutes left.
Okay.
And I've already mentioned that these two young men are part of the NFL Players Choir. And I want these guys to give you a little line.
Oh,
Come on.
Oh, man.
the voice is hoarse.
We have. I know my voice is gone. I can't even sing.
Come on,
My voice is so gone.
They were trying to get me to sing last week, and my voice was gone.
I feel like you.
We're here. We're performing in America's Got Talent. If those of you don't know, so we're these are some of the guys that's in the group. So I guess they're gonna give you a line because all the ladies hitting me and saying they want y'all to sing. Give them something. Just two lines of a song. These boys can sing too.
If you guys do it all together, come up with a song.
Doc, why you
support
always
each
put this
other.
on the spot, man?
Hey, the thing is, we can't sing together on here because everybody's mic is different. It's different timing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when you hear my music playing, I'll hear it right now, and then y'all hear it about 3 seconds later. So we can't harmonize like that, though. So, but they can sing a song they like. So I just want them to sing something because they're gonna be saying something. The ladies gonna be saying, "Preacher man, what you got?" Y'all don't know Wayne is a preacher too.
I don't even know what song to sing right now because my voice is literally so hoarse.
I know we sang.
They sang us out so bad.
Every day, all day.
All day.
Perform, Wednesday, we had to perform with a symphony. I woke up and I was talking like this. Oh, I can't talk.
Wow.
Man, I had to pray. They had me
Right
hot water and lemon and everything else.
Lemon, tea.
just to get me to perform that night, but my voice was gone. Singers, I give it up for them singers because they sing all day.
Yeah, they do.
All day. But
Well,
the thing,
can I go back to a question then, since they don't really they don't want to be put on the spotlight?
no, they gonna sing. They not scared. Believe me. They not scared.
You sang to
These
some
are football
voices.
players. These are football players. They never get.
You guys got to do some Hail Marys then. You got to go ahead.
Come on, JB. Hey, JB. I can tell the way he's sitting up.
He ready. His diaphragm. His diaphragm is ready.
Question for later. Go ahead. Do your thing.
Look, Doc, I wasn't ready for this, man.
Come on, JB. Give me a little something.
I'm like D Wright, though. I'm trying to figure out what song would I sing right now.
Hey, everybody has a go-to. Everyone has a go-to song.
The one you guys sang on the first round.
Nah, because
See, I wasn't there on that round. I
He
wasn't there for the first round.
Okay.
I had joined right after that.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, we on here with the Doctor of Love. I do Music Soul Child. I
There we
do
go.
Love, Music Soul Child. Love, so many things I've got to tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know how. Because there's a possibility when you look at me differently, love. There you go. There you go.
All right.
This is the first time. Hey, I can't even get mine out. I can't get for real. Hey, come on.
Man, look,
Come on,
stay
Dwayne.
tuned to the journey, man.
Yeah, baby.
Let me see.
You gotta sing something strong.
Man, let me see. We don't even talk anymore. We don't even know what we argue about. Don't even say you love me no more. Cause every time turn
I hear you.
some people work things out and some just don't know how to. I'll leave it right there.
Yeah.
Let's go into the water and die. I got my go-to. Love, 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 love. Oh, I barely got that.
Oh man,
I barely got that.
we got 30 days, Doctor of Love. 30 days till we back.
Hey, I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back. My voice gonna be back. And y'all ain't even heard the project we working on. I know y'all ain't heard, but I can't say it on. I can't say it on here. I can't say it on here. It's a new one.
Wow.
Let's move on because we got 10, 12 minutes left.
I want to
Boss
say you guys
lady.
did great on the Americans Got Talent.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And you know what they were telling me when we were going on stage, Toy? They said, we singing this song for Toy. You know, that's what they said. That's
Hey,
it.
Dad, what?
Yeah.
So we have a couple of more question topics here. Can we
All
address
right, let's
those
go. Let's
before
go.
we get out of time? No, actually one more. But this was an interesting one here, wherever this come from. But maybe I don't know. But things I expect men to pay for while dating
Ooh.
or in a relationship.
Yeah. I just posted that. If y'all listen to this video, this
And
rip.
and so some things here it says like all dates, nails, hair, gas, electric bill, whatever.
What year was the gas? Because I don't know if any man right now is gonna be paying for that, especially in California.
But things I expect men to pay for while dating in a relationship.
While dating.
While
Not married,
while dating. Oh, while dating.
This chick, I posted, you guys can go to my page. This chick saying you got to pay for everything, bro. I don't want to talk about what she looked like, but she said you have to pay for all these things to go out with her.
You know what?
Regardless of what she looked like.
She needs to find her date because she has
Right.
She looked like Bushwick Bill.
That must be her.
She looked like Bushwick Bill. Remember last year Halloween fell on a weekend. Me and Yellow Boy were trick or treating. That little midget dude. And I'm like, how are you gonna be asking for something like this?
Yeah.
For real.
Whoa.
She said you need to pay her shaving, her waxing. You need to pay for her waxing, her hair done. What else was it, Linda?
Oh, she had her hair, waxing, nails,
Her lights.
gasoline, electric bill.
Oh, my
But and not only that, should women expect?
Yeah, the key word was expect.
Should women? Yeah, should women
Lord.
expect those things?
She's been
That's
listening.
my question.
And guys, I'm curious, what do you all think about women who expect those things from you if you're dating her?
We probably wouldn't be dating.
Exactly.
For me.
Okay.
We probably
I
ain't
wouldn't
gonna be
be, yeah.
dating.
Like, Jesus.
Because I know our perspectives are going to be so far off. There's going to be a big gap.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We won't be able to find that common ground for understanding. I'm
Okay.
sure.
Right.
I'm sure.
And those are like the women who we want to provide for ourselves. Like, that looks bad. Anyway, let me move on to my question then, because
Right, yeah, come on.
you know,
Come on,
as
Miss
far
Boyd.
as what
on.
even Dwayne said about having the emotional woman or women who kind of want advice and all this stuff. Now, there's two different type of women: the alpha woman who wants to be independent. I can do this, I can do that. Then you got the one that is a little bit more, I need a man to help me with everything or this and that. What type of woman is your preference as a man? One that is more independent, more vocal, will speak on things, or one that is more
Needy.
submissive and needy? Yeah.
Well,
I
needy
think
could
you-
go two different ways, though. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Doc. I
No,
like the
go
way you
ahead.
starting off.
Hey, you go ahead.
My wife. That's the best answer you can give.
Okay. What type of woman is your wife then?
Strong, very independent. When we first
Okay.
met, very, very independent. Didn't depend on nothing. She was raised. Her mama raised her to not depend on a man.
Right.
And I think, well, if I can add to that, I think that's a problem and a good thing, because then every woman should depend on a man, because it's a man's job to provide. That's his job. But there's a way that you do it. You ain't gonna just depend on a man and expect him to pay your 7 months of rent if y'all ain't married. That ain't happening. Because for one, y'all ain't married. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't even in God's eyes. So I think it's a respect thing. I think how you meet her is how you end up. Point blank. That's just what it is.
Right.
I could comment on that. Sometimes women, like the woman that you guys were talking about, who said that this is her expectation. She's a big light. She's been listening to too much. What's that Beyonce's group, Destiny's Child, and Can You Pay My Bills and all that. Don't get me wrong, it's nice. The brother wants to pay, for things, but here's the way I look at it. All that old bring something to the table. I can bring the whole table if need. What is it? You got frozen.
Stephen is frozen, so maybe he may have to come in if you want to continue talking.
Okay, so I think that a lot of women will say that, oh, this is the expectation, and I don't think that it's wrong that a woman should have a reasonable expectation, just like a man should have reasonable expectation of a woman. But women should be able to provide exactly what she's expecting of these men. She should be able to do that for herself.
Mm-hmm.
So don't start talking about, I need a 2-carat diamond ring if you can't buy one for yourself.
Point exactly.
Or buy the band for your husband,
Point exactly.
Right.
Point exactly.
Right.
You
So
know,
JB, what type of woman?
I gotta kind of piggyback off of what D Wright would say, but if I was to answer that for a man's perspective, I think you got to look at the man, right? Look at where he's been, what he's done. A lot of times, men who seek the submissive, or I guess less aggressive type of woman, hasn't really achieved or done certain things of his own, so he can manipulate that woman, right? And typically leech off of the things that she has. Now, when you have a man who's kind of accomplished certain things, has a little higher intellect, a little more substance, then he does like a strong, independent woman that then he could lead to a point of learning how to respect that man. So I think you got to look at the man when answering that question. For me, I like a strong woman that could be coached into learning how to respect each other. We respect each other and make it a partnership.
I like
I
that.
could
Yeah.
respect you guys' answers because women sometimes you feel like you have to shrink back in order to become the type of woman a man would want. So that's a very good perspective.
I think, if you got to shrink for the man, that's not the man. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because a real man wouldn't get afraid of that. I think that's just my
Thank
opinion.
you.
Now there might be a more passive man, who would cower away from a strong woman. But I think when you got as D. Wright would say, a man's man, you know what I mean, who's confident and knows himself, then he wouldn't feel any threat.
Yeah, I like to say one last thing between strong and resilient. The word strong labeled to a Black woman to me has been a hard thing for us to carry, even on to doctors and things. They think we could take more pain. They think we can, So I like to use the word resilient because it means we're breakable. We're not, we can't bend and snap. We can bend, but we're resilient. And so I've always looked at my man to be strong for me and I could stand by his side. But I would love sometimes for us not to be labeled strong as if we're that, broad-shouldered man that can do everything, and also we're more hard to manage than any other race of woman because we're labeled strong when it's really not that about us. We're very feminine and sensitive and things like that as well. So I always like to use the word resilient, and if I could always put it out there, share it with others, people say do it, because resilient is a beautiful word for us as Black women besides strong. So no offense to what you guys were saying, because I agree with all of it, but I like to share that.
I agree. Can I please add on to what you were saying? So that's the difference. What I'm saying for a man is how you grew up and where you come from as well. Where we have moms who are very overprotective of their sons. So if you give that product with no father in the home, that's the same product that's going to go out looking for a woman and vice versa. There's two parents in the home and you got one man that's strong and raises his sons and a mom who nurtures, then you don't have a balanced young man. And maybe you may not. You may have just a dad who raises the young man, right? He becomes a man. So now he's looking at everything from a man's perspective. Me, woman does this. Woman, I need this, right? The same thing with a woman. If you grow up with no father and it's just a mom, that woman is going to be a super strong, independent woman because all she's seen is her mother do positive and take care of. So there's all types of different strands to this, but I agree with you as well.
Okay. So I think what I heard in all of that was, men do like women who are resilient. Yes. From what I'm hearing you all say, that if the man knows who he is and he knows what he's bringing to the table, he knows I always say, I don't know if you all are familiar with Dr. Miles Monroe, but he wrote a couple of books that I love. One was called Understanding the Power and the Purpose of Woman and Understanding the Power and Purpose of Man. And that book really puts in perspective that we were all called with unique talents and gifts that we bring to a family environment. Like men bring things into the relationship and family that women do not have, and vice versa, women do the same thing. And so when we know our roles, the purpose by which we've been called, it makes us much easier to work and live in relationships in a way where it's almost seamless, or the harmony is there without getting upset or feeling that someone is competing against the other one or someone's not doing their part when we understand that. But that comes with the conversation. But backing up a little bit too, and I'm going to go back to this expectations. I think a lot of times what I've observed, and I just think back even my own life personally before I became aware that oftentimes we go into relationships with this idea that we're loving someone and we're so in love. But what I'm finding more times than not, a lot of times, it really is about the motivation of meeting one's need. Like we have these internal needs and people get married to have needs met. Like this, when you hear someone saying, I have these expectations for someone that I'm dating. well, then you're already entering a contract that says the moment he can't afford the hair, the nails, the wax, and the gas, or whatever, it's called goodbye. So this is not someone or paying your rent. According to Maslow, and I always say this too, that relationship require your whole people. Whole people are people who have dealt with the fractured part of themselves. They know who they are. They live from a higher perspective and level of life. They live from a place of purpose. They date from that place of purpose. They know where they're going. They know who they are, and they're okay with themselves. You know, they've gone through like this whole thing of meeting their D needs, their love and belonging needs, they self-esteem. You know, they know where they are. Usually people are choosing relationships at the first level of sex actualization or becoming whole, and that is to have their deep needs met.
Yep.
Shelter, water, clothing, food, you know, and everyone has to learn a level of self-sufficiency. But now when we come into a committed relationship, I think dating, when I used to hear the word dating, as I always say, dating is for the purpose of gathering data to determine if you're going to come into a committed relationship or marriage. So if we're just dating, there shouldn't be an expectation for money nor sex until we determine what type of relationship this is, where it's going. Then we can talk about our contributions to this relationship if we're going to take it further than that, or if we're just going to be casual friends. We need to first understand what it is.
Right.
You know, I say to people, needy people are always subject to abuse.
Yeah.
Learn how to meet your own needs. You may have expectation for the man that you're going to marry, but in the meantime, learn how to meet your own needs.
Yes, this is true. I like what you're talking about, Maslow's theory with the self-actualization, because you go on this pyramid and trying to get to the top of this pyramid to meet their self-actualization. People need to be woven into the fabric of whatever the relationship is. And the problem is sometimes the fabric is just not meshing up with the other fabric, and you're just in the wrong situation.
Yeah, I was looking at a comment here by John. What is he saying? Oh, he was talking about the people who just put a roof over your head. You know, you shouldn't be going into a relationship for that reason. If you have not learned how to meet those needs, you know, and back again, people have the weirdest expectations when they're coming into relationships. You know, like,
oh my God,
need somebody to put a roof. You're not marrying your mama or your daddy.
Right.
That's who are responsible for putting a roof over your head. And if you and I say to people, become what you're looking for in another person.
Right.
You want love, respect, and someone to give to you, then you know you become the lover first. You become the giver first.
Yeah.
You have to
Right.
be what you're expecting, and not expecting one thing because you think you're that cute or that handsome. You know, they're handsome. But anyways, what time is it? Stephen never came back on. I think it's 11:03.
Reach out to him when I messed my own self up.
Okay, he said run. Oh, okay. He was just saying to run the rest of the show. His internet is acting up, so he can't see himself like we can either, right? But anyways, we're at the end of the show. I just realized we're 11:03, so we're over. Our time a little bit, and it's been a really great show. It's been wonderful to have everybody on.
Awesome, had a lot of fun
to hear from you guys. So as Stephen would always say, you can tell people once again who you are and how they can reach out to you. If you could be of assistance to them, you can go. So who wants to go first and say how they can connect with you?
I'll set it off. If you will follow me on all the social medias, that's JB_the_great_68. Easy on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also for anything with my foundation and just want to follow the journey with the Empowerment Center that we're doing here in the city of Louisville, go to www.JamonBrown.com.
All right.
Great.
Awesome. Well, I'm Dwayne Wright. I'm going to close up. I thank everybody for the chiming in with the questions. You can find me on every IG at DW_THA_guru. So DW the RB guru, and you'll find all my information, my short videos, all that there. So it was a pleasure. Thank you all for inviting me.
Okay.
I'm Toshua Cornwell Clark, and you can find me on TikTok. I'm TikTok Toshua, or you can follow me on Instagram at Browse by Tosh Studio 111 or Toshua Cornwell Clark on both Facebook and or Instagram. You can catch my videos on TikTok.
All right.
All right, it's been a pleasure. I love being on here every Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Love meeting the new guests, Dwayne Wright, JB, and of course the lovely relationships, Dr. Linda and Toshua.
Yeah.
You can find me on Miss Toy Fly Financial Female. That's female off, but on all the platforms on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all that. I keep the same thing. And and I have a new line. I said my best friend brand. That's what you can find on Instagram right now. And that is taking care of the furry friend dogs that are our best friends. And we'll be doing a lot with them. So that's coming soon.
All right, awesome. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard some great information tonight. And most importantly, you have some major resources here. You know, what I say to everyone, you want great relationships, become great, and you have a great relationship. If you don't feel you're great in your own eyes, reach out. You know, if you can't pay your rent or pay your electric bill and you're looking for a boyfriend to do it, please go buy a seat. So, you know, we need to learn how to be economically safe, you know, work on your finances.
Yeah, they
they
call me. I get free financial education.
Yes.
There you go.
And I have a book, How Money Works. I'll send it to you free.
And of course, and if you're struggling with your children or any other empowerment, you got two great men here. You got
Call
JB.
me. I do it old school and new school, whoopings and mentorship.
I always say you do better by being better.
Yeah.
You know, be your best self. That's what you do. And of course, if you're fighting with your spouse, oh, wait a minute, I didn't talk about Sister Toshua yet. Yes, I did. Did I put you out with what you bring? Anyways.
What is it?
So Toshua, listen, if you guys are struggling with what's the crest of what you're doing, Toshua?
I couldn't. What did you say now?
What's the crest of what you do in terms of your services or what you produced, your information?
The information that I produce. I don't understand what you're.
No, I'm asking what's the empowerment behind what you're doing. You know, like.
Well, I like to empower Black women, young Black girls, and to be their better self. You know, society has told us that we are worthless and we don't have value, and so it's what I do.
Okay, so if you have young ladies, and if you're a young lady, you're a mother or whatever, but you're struggling with your own identity and how to be your greatest self, reach out to Sister Toshua there. And of course, if you're fighting in your relationship and you're trying to determine if you want to stay with him or her or leave them jokers alone, call me up. We can work through that, you know. But we're here to not only give you information, but hopefully to be resourceful. So thank everyone for joining us tonight. Stephen is having a problem with his internet. So I'm going to do him the favor, Dr. Love, of closing him out. Thank you all so much for joining us. Do come back again. And as he like to say, host, your panel, you guys stay right there. But for everyone else in Facebook land, we love you tonight and we look forward to meeting you again next week. Until then, God bless you. May your life be enriched and may your relationship blossom, okay? And you yourself. Bye for now. So maybe, see if I can get Steve